Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm your host for the next couple of hours, along with Gal.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. And Nick is here.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Spence is en route somewhere in Vancouver or Alaska.
He's on a ship.
Yeah. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by Vimix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So what's going on?
Who said anything is going on?
Nothing's going on. Okay. Shh. That's fine. Shh.
Tomorrow, right? 4th of July.
4th of July.
Tomorrow evening, 22 years ago, is when I got married. So it's always 4th of July. We're always enjoying that everybody is celebrating our anniversary.
With fireworks and everything.
Yeah. So, yeah. When we got married, we never knew we were leaving the States. So it was just an anecdote that it coincided with the U.S. Independence Day. But yeah.
Yep. So. Mazal tov. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Other than that, work, nothing's happening. Come on, man. You heard about anything happening?
There are a few things that happen.
Bring us the news.
I got a couple things.
Okay, go.
You hear about the this unemployment cyber attack?
No.
Nope.
So there's a company called Geographic Solutions Inc. or GSI, which is a third-party vendor that so the way unemployment works is you've got the federal government that pays out unemployment, but each state is required to manage their own unemployment. So the money comes from the split of money comes from the federal government, other comes from the state, but each state is required to manage that. So just think about it like elections, right? We have national elections, but each state is responsible for handling and managing that. So one of these companies is this Geographic Solutions Inc. is a vendor that is used for these various unemployments across the country, including you know state labor departments and stuff like that. They released a statement saying that it had recently identified anonymous activity on its computer network. And then it said that the company discovered an attempted malware hack, which because they it was either attempted or it was effective, they shut down all of their systems to try and mitigate whatever damage. So 40 states and Washington, D.C. use GSI for part of their unemployment services, and they are down.
Wow.
So they say
I mean, they
attempted malware attack. What'd you say?
They took it down.
No. Well, the company themselves took it down, correct?
Yeah.
They say attempted.
Right.
I don't know what
better safe than sorry.
I doubt. I will just say doubt that it was attempted. It was probably successful, and they're trying to cut their losses.
Yeah, maybe. Wow. What will they think of next? I mean, I don't understand these days. Well, yeah, I do. It's hard to protect against everything. And there can always be somebody who's ill-informed or irresponsible in an office somewhere that will do what the bad actors want them to do. Open an email, send some, click on a link that they shouldn't. So can't always blame the company itself.
Well, and yeah, I mean, like we have no idea. Like, for
Right.
example, their www site is down. Like, you can't even, their domain is offline as well. So I mean, they've just pulled the plug on everything. Who knows? I mean, it sounds like a service that's pretty well integrated. So maybe there was an exploit in some sort of integration. Don't really know, but they are shut down.
We'll find out.
So I have another aspect to ask.
Sure.
So while you're describing this, I'm searching for unemployment cyber attack, okay? On Google News right now. And Google News has a way of aggregating the news sources about it, right? So other than CNN and Gadget, which are not local, all of the news about it is local. How can you explain this? This sounds like such a big news item, right? Why is it buried? Why isn't it? And it's 2, 4, 3 days ago. Like, it's not recent, so it should have been. It should have propagated already. Some answers should have been provided already. So,
I've got a couple of thoughts on it. This Geographic Solutions Inc. Or GSI, they may have been providing different level of services to different unemployment boards. It said, or different labor departments. So looking at it, 40 states and Washington, D.C. What if you just use GSI for one little system that isn't mission critical and they shut down? No impact. So that would be my guess is why it's not so prominent, is because the big things I'm seeing is Louisiana and Tennessee seem to be the two states that are cited and quoted as having major issues. And I agree with you completely, Gal. If 40 states and DC had their unemployment boards or their labor boards down, that would be a huge national story. So my guess would be that this company provides different level of services to all of these different departments, which would maybe explain why it's not that big of a deal. I mean, it is still a big deal, but it's not as widespread.
Cannot get unemployment sounds like a big deal.
But if you're only talking about Louisiana,
it's a poor people problem, right? So that's my problem, right? It's like, this doesn't touch everybody, right? Supposedly, it sounds like this isn't the problem. This isn't the Wall Street problem, right? This isn't like the big money problem.
Well, I think there's still some questions about, because like even there's an article in the San Francisco Examiner 2 days ago, unemployment payments uncertain as 9 states web hosts hack. Uncertain. Wow. So I maybe it's because they weren't aware, they weren't sure what the impact would be. Maybe that's why, again, it hasn't made that big of a deal.
So bizarre.
It looks like the website is offline. Maybe the benefits are still flowing. So if that's the case, you're talking about new recipients. Yeah. So if you have new recipients, which is a problem, don't get me wrong, but new recipients not being able to apply versus nobody being able to get their benefits on unemployment are two very, very different stories.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why.
Well,
yeah,
interesting to say the least.
Was just the web vendor. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So bizarre.
Yeah, very bizarre, but kind of an interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
Gal, your run-in with Google and the email and all that back when. I read a story now that says that Google is charging some small businesses for email and other apps after more than a decade of free use.
It's the
Same. It's the
It's
same
the
thing.
same story.
Yeah.
It's just a continuation of it because the bills are going to kick in on August.
Yeah, that's what is going to. This
Yeah.
says business owners say Google is being callous. When Google told some small businesses in January that they would no longer be able to use a customized email service and other workspace apps for free, it felt like a broken promise for Richard Dalton, a longtime user who operates a Scholastic test prep company in Vancouver, British Columbia. They're basically strong arming us to switch to something paid after they got us hooked on this free service.
Wah.
That's what he said.
Exactly.
Give me a break.
Well-
You're running a business and you're bitching about $5
Right.
a month for
I know.
email?
That's well, it's
I mean, come on.
he's saying that now it is which include email and apps like Docs and Calendar. He has to start paying a monthly charge, usually around $6 for each business email address.
Oh.
Businesses that do not voluntarily switch to a paid service by June 27th will be automatically moved to one. If they don't pay by August 1st, their account will be suspended.
Look,
He
I'm in
needs
the same boat, right? I'm
Well-
in the same boat. The only difference is I run the family
Yeah.
email.
Right.
Right. And even when that hit, I wasn't complaining about them not allowing me anymore to use it for free. I actually completely get it, right? It's not. It's the problem was they also never provided a migration path, right? Because I can still use for free Gmail.
Yeah.
But they said, screw you, right? We're just going to either shut down or charge, right? One or the other. And I get that it's a problem, but then again, they also provided 6 months to make a decision and 8 months until they start billing, right? So whether it's fair that they did it, no, it's not fair. Life isn't fair, right? So grow
but
up.
they're a business.
But you're running a business and you got 8 months of notice, right?
Mhm.
Practically. You got 6 months to plan the migration and complaining that you didn't get it for free. Come on. Like, yeah. I read that article and it felt like boo-hoo. Somebody's going to provide, it's going to cost me some money to run my business. Another fee is slapped on. Fair, no. Big deal, no either. None of these accounts, when Google first gave those accounts for free, when they started the service back in, I don't know, I don't even remember. Then they gave 50 free accounts, right? So you set up a domain and you could create up to 50 separate users for free. Then
Which, by the way, hold on, Gal. I want to stop you. That's ridiculous that they offered that for free. That is
that was
crazy for them to offer
I agree.
for free.
I agree. That is one of the reasons I jumped on it. Come on. It's like, come on. It's like too good to be true, right?
Yeah.
But back then we were in a completely different era, right? So
Of course.
this is definitely pre.com, .com burst. And so a few years later, they changed the conditions and they made it, I think, either 10 or 15 accounts. So I still have I actually don't know if it's limited at this point, but I still had the account with the 50. I actually had a few because I had a few domains and I registered, even though I didn't really use them, I registered a service for each of those domains, right? So it was like, it was a real game changer for a lot of families and a lot of small businesses. And but if you're running a business on a free service, one of the first thing you have to do is plan to move off that free service, because someday something is going to break, either by design or by the vendor's choice. And just complaining that you didn't plan for it, I mean, too bad. Even with the move that I needed, I mean, I was complaining about needing to move, but I already had a plan in place. I already was looking into options. I was figuring things out. I got
context here is
I can
important
do
too,
it
Gal.
today.
Context is very important here. You're not talking about a free. This is a small business parent. What is this guy on? Scholastic Tutoring or something?
Yeah.
All right. So what's he got?
Test.
Five employees. I mean,
even if you have 20, it doesn't really.
You're
matter.
talking about, yeah. And I think it starts at $6 a month, but as you add 15 plus or 20 plus users, I think that rate drops by $1 or something. You're not talking about thousands of dollars a month for a service. You might be talking about a couple of hundred at the high end,
right?
Like, and I think that's important to note when there's this moral outrage that some free service that you've been using for 10 years is now charging. If this is putting you out of business, you've got other problems, and it's not Google's fault.
Exactly.
Well, you really need. I mean, he needs to do what Gal did and look how much it's going to actually cost. How much did I save over all these years? And how much is it going to cost me somewhere else? I think Google is still somewhat of a deal.
You can host at Zoho for free.
But you don't.
Yeah, that's true.
You can host at Zoho free. I think you can have 10 users per domain at Zoho for free. It's either 5 or 10 users. That's what I use.
Oh, he can.
There are options. But then he's going to have to hire somebody to do it. Yeah. And he's not going to want to do that either.
Yeah. And what about, Google Docs and all that? If you got used to use it.
And pay for it.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
You can still use it for free. Just not within these accounts. You need to move the accounts out and then you register them. Google Docs is still free. It's free for you. It's free for me. It's not a problem. As long as it's not tied to the domain account, not a problem. So it's all about a business decision. I think a poor one on Google's part, right? Unless they share with the data, like they say, look, we're bleeding out money over here. I'm guessing it was some sort of an executive decision that wasn't thought of properly. And to be fair, the reason I'm saying it is because the solution they came up 6 months after the fact, after the uproar of, the focus from my end are family users, right? Personal users, which have been using that service. That service was marketed as a free, bring your family into the domain service, right? On top of the business aspects. They enjoyed the data they collected from these free users all these years. So they definitely benefited from giving me a free account. I'm not naive. I was the product here for them.
Right.
And now coming to the non-business users and saying you have to pay, that wasn't fair. And they definitely backed up on that, right? They suddenly said, okay. And unlike any other prediction going through, they actually said, okay, your family accounts, you can stay. It's like nothing changed. I didn't need to do anything in order to continue this, except to hit the checkbox and say, this is a non-profit, this is not for profit. This is a personal use account. So that's when the second, it sounds like whoever wrote the news article, like literally just doesn't like Google, didn't have anything to write about, and just picked up somebody complaining and just dug in. But this time it's like it's
Yeah.
mute. It's yeah, it's not relevant.
All right. Here's another good one. The percentage of US adults saying they use their smartphone too much has increased in recent years, rising from 39% when Gallup last asked this in 2015 to 58 today. This sentiment was strongly age contingent in 2015 and remains so now. However, all age groups have become more likely to express this concern. Also, this belief is pervasive not only among 20 something. Smartphone users aged 30 to 49, 74%, are nearly as likely as those 18 to 29, which is 81%, to say they are on their phone too much. This contrasts with 47% of those 50 to 64 and 30% of those 65 and older. As in 2015, there is little difference by gender in which adults think they overuse their smartphone, with 60% of women and 56% of men now saying this. I'm using my phone too much.
I'm telling you, it's those TikToks. TikTok recently made a change to their app at least on the Android.
Yeah.
And you get statistics of your own use of the application. You actually see a graph of how long you've spent within the app and how long you've spent watching others stream, etc. I can tell you that is eye-opening.
Well,
it'll be interesting.
So-
It's really bizarre that on the one hand, we have this complaint of we're using the phone too much. As a society, I'm not talking individually specifically, but as a society. And on the other hand, we have these complaints about these big companies which are luring us in, right? And it's a bit like the conversation around cigarettes back in the 70s and 80s, right? It's like people are smoking too much. And the difference is, at least from the point of view I'm seeing right now, the cigarette companies, they never did anything to I've never felt they hid the fact that you should get hooked up on this, right? This was like literally their marketing. And here at TikTok, right, this platform that the entire world basically uses today, and anybody who starts using TikTok automatically feels the pull in. The application itself is filled with tools of, yes, you need to dig in and find them, but nobody regulated them to add those tools. But yet again, they added tools to help you curtail the use of the app. Before this iteration of the change, it had a built-in timer that after a certain time, you need to enter a PIN if you really want to continue. You set up the PIN, you set it. It's all about self-control, right? But they gave you these built-in self-control tools, which I find really bizarre. It's like, oh, we're going to make this very addictive thing. Oh, it's way addictive than we thought. Let's alongside the addictive service, let's add some stuff that will help those addicts.
Huh?
but it doesn't feel sincere, if you understand what I mean. It's like,
Yeah.
right? It's like, on the one hand, yeah, we don't really want you to get hooked, but please keep using, right?
Yeah, we don't want you to get hooked.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
look at
It's
that.
like, this is such a bizarre tango. Like
Yeah.
the two steps forward, the one step back. It's like, I wonder where it's gonna end
So,
eventually.
talking about TikTok, a leader. Wait, oh, Nick is busy.
He's listening.
How am I busy?
Oh, I thought you were holding a phone. A
I was
leader
holding a phone.
of the U.S. Federal Communication Commission said he has asked Apple and Google to remove TikTok from their app stores over China-related data security concerns. The widely popular short video app is owned by Chinese company ByteDance, which faced U.S. scrutiny under President Donald Trump. Brennan Carr, one of the FCC's commissioner, shared via Twitter a letter to Apple CEO Tim Cook and Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai. The letter pointed to reports and other developments that made TikTok non-compliant with the two companies' App Store policies. TikTok is not what it, this is from the letter. It says TikTok is not what it appears to be on the surface. It is not just an app for sharing funny videos or meme. That's the sheep clothing, he said. At its core, TikTok functions as a sophisticated surveillance tool that harvests extensive amounts of personal and sensitive data.
Okay, he is 100% correct, but that is also true for 90% of the apps on the App Store.
Yeah, but there's
Including
also
everything by Google and Apple.
Agreed. I don't understand why this is being done now. This has been a conversation for months now. During the Trump administration, he brought it up too. Years. What the hell? Why is this a big deal now?
I don't know. I have
Nothing
no
new
idea.
here. Yeah, he's probably trying to run to some office or like boost some political creds. There's nothing new here, and this letter will do nothing.
I mean, this makes no sense at all.
Nick, do you know, is he Democrat or Republican?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Democrat.
You know,
well, he was appointed by the administration, but that's irrelevant. It's just that none of this, like, this has been a rallying cry for both political party. It doesn't matter your political party, for folks that are data centric and privacy centric for years now about TikTok. So nothing in that statement is not anything that Apple and Google weren't already aware of or anybody else wasn't already aware of. So it just is very odd.
No.
So just to be clear on the facts, right?
No, hold on now. I don't want to hear the facts. Stop. Enough of you. Sorry.
You will sit down and you will listen, young man.
Okay, I'm sorry.
TikTok isn't doing anything differently, right, than Facebook, Twitter, Google, and Google, I'm talking the entire suite of applications on the Android phone, including what you install by them on the Apple, through the Apple Store. And Apple, nothing is different. The only thing that really, really, really bugs the American side of politics here is that it is Chinese owned, right? Mm-hmm. So are the Chinese, are they surveilling you for every piece of information they can? That Chinese company is, because they are making tons, shitloads of money, right? Through it. So is that letter going to stop anything? Probably not. And the main reason is because if they stop it with the Chinese, they'll need to stop it with everyone. They'll need to stop it with the Swedes and Spotify. They'll need to stop it with the America and Microsoft, Google, Apple. and everybody is too comfortable in their pods in the matrix to actually crack open, right, and face reality. That won't happen. We have resigned to use it, and we will continue to use it. It's not. No politician will be able to stop it like that.
Well, not at this point, anyway. Maybe if something actually happened, somebody got hurt, their information
you
was
can't
put
prove it.
out.
There's too many layers of obfuscation
Yeah.
between action and the data collection that you can even. You're in conspiracy theory land when you speak and talk and think like that. So I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying the importance of this existence is at this point so problematic that in order for it to change in reality, philosophical at best.
Listen to this now. Do you think it's easy to cancel Amazon Prime?
Sort of. I did it once.
You did?
Physically easy or mentally easy?
Well, listen to this article. Amazon has agreed to simplify the process required for canceling its Prime membership subscription service across its sites in the European Union, both on desktop and mobile interfaces, following a series of complaints from regional consumer protection groups. I mean, they agreed to do it in Europe, not in the US.
I think they already did it in the US.
They're not agreeing to do it. They're agreeing to. It sounds like they're agreeing to normalize the process across all of the different Amazon brands, which is different when you're dealing with different currencies, different laws of how the governments work in all of these different countries. That's to be expected. The way you operate your business in the United States might not be the same way you operate it in Belgium, for example. That's not a surprise.
Okay, sorry. Wait,
that seems normal.
Did I hear guys saying that they already did it in the US?
I don't think it was ever hard to do.
No, I remember.
Well,
so
listen to
the process used to be you go to cancel, and then you need to pass through like 5 or 6 different approvals, right? It's like, are you really sure that you want to lose this and this and this and this, and you continue, and then it's like it bugs you again and again and again, something like that. And I remember an article I think we read on the show about it's going to be easier to do it. So now it sounds like the European government is just, sitting on them and saying, you need to make this.
Well,
sense.
Look what the thing is. The coordinated complaints about Amazon's confusing and convoluted cancellation process for Prime were announced back in April 2021. So it's taking just over a year for the e-commerce giant to agree to change its ways. Following the engagement with EU regulators, the Commission said today that Amazon started to make some revisions to the Prime web interface, such as labeling the cancel button more clearly and shortening the explanatory text. But today's announcement is that it has agreed to further simplify the experience by further reducing the text so consumers do not get distracted by warnings and deterred from canceling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Seems like a nothing burger.
Well, I mean,
every company that has a subscription model or service does this. Amnon, what was the BS you just went through with your internet company?
That's right. Yeah.
It's the same thing. Every subscription company does this. It's called user or customer retention. And I'm not justifying it, but
no. In technology, it's called black patterns. And it has been identified already. It's like a complete field of study And a black pattern would be a page where you have the like the continue very bolded and button shaped, and the cancel will be just a word with an underscore somewhere,
Mhm.
right? So you remember the joke? There was it used to be a joke website where you would get a question of do you want to continue, and then you move the mouse and the no button will run around, and you only had the yes. That is like a satirical black pattern, right? So this is exactly it. It's like everything is hidden in plain sight, but it's still hidden. And I mean, us over here, we are already used to it, right? It's like the phishing schemes, right? That's another black pattern. You get an email from PayPal at .com, right? So, and you think it's from PayPal. It's the same thing. It's like, and yeah, and the big guys, the legit big guys, they are doing pretty much the same crap. And what I find really strange is that an Amazon, right, is waiting to be slapped on the wrist in order to fix this, instead of understanding that fixing it on their own creates integrity, right? Brings more customers in, makes sure that customers, if they do cancel, they might even come back. But after going through this, if I cancel, I won't come back ever. They pissed me off when I left, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I find so bizarre about this entire process. It's like, you're so big. Do you really need to squeeze another cent out of that dollar?
Yes.
Or yeah, that's exactly the thing. It's like when that is the only thing that drives you, you will definitely lose more than just that cent. And that's what I don't get it. It is over and over and over again. It is demonstrated, and still they're at their the next quarter will at least have another cent. And always bugs me that.
But
that
let me say
part.
this though. I don't know how this again. I don't know how this differs from a lot of other things too. I mean, anything that you're dealing with in terms of I'm just trying to think of anything in the sales game is similar things. Oh, you go and buy a car and it's oh well, we can mark this down and how about this and that. I mean, it's just I'm not agreeing with it, but word negotiation probably isn't the right word to use because it's definitely not a negotiation. But this is just to me, this is just sales 101.
I mean,
Try and
I
sweeten the
understand
pot
what you're
enough,
saying.
or confuse the person that's buying it enough to buy it. I mean, that's a good chunk of sales. I had some lady from some random ass company come to my door this week. No idea who she worked for. She wouldn't tell me, or the name of the company, Energy Systems or some BS like that. And she
Yeah.
wanted to see a copy of my Duke energy bill, which apparently is going to go up by 35%, which it's not. So that she could build a energy profile for my house. And I said,
Yeah.
well, what exactly are you trying to sell me? Well, nothing. I'm just trying to see if we can lower the money on your bill. I said, ma'am, there's one energy provider. It's Duke. That's it. What exactly are you trying to sell me? We're not. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to build you a plant. I said, a plant for what? I have one company that can provide electricity. How are you going to make my bill cheaper? And eventually, I just said, enough. I've had enough, and I just shut the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what. I assume she was trying to sell me solar, but didn't want to say
for
it.
sure.
That's what I presume.
For sure. Yeah.
But it was just that. It was
Well,
like,
say it up front.
well, no, because most people don't
doesn't.
want solar here because
Well.
it doesn't make a lot of sense for a house that's 1,100 square feet and not enough roof line. Makes 0 sense to get solar.
Then you're going to say no at the end of the line anyway. So why waste?
Yeah, but you can you can use these obfuscation techniques of we're going to try and lower your bill and Duke Energy is going to raise your bill, and hey, I'm not the boogeyman. I'm just trying to help you save some money. And it's all part of that gimmick. And you just have to be willing to push forward. And the problem is most people are too nice and will sit there and just let them go on. And I guess I'm just a dick because I'm like, enough. I don't know. Unless you can tell me there's another company that's going to provide me electricity, which I know there's not,
Right.
then you literally can offer me nothing.
Right. Right.
So I don't know.
Maybe she was selling generators.
You know what? If she was selling generators, I would have loved for her to say that up front because I generally would have been interested in hearing about it.
I agree. I just
I've got
that's
news.
How I know it was solar.
I've got news.
I guarantee you it was solar.
I've got news.
By the way, when it comes to sales, she made a major mistakes because somebody flat out asked her for a direct answer, right? And she didn't provide it.
Mm-hmm.
She already broke the trust. She already lost that moment that she didn't provide it. So she didn't listen enough to her mentor or whoever who's guiding her in doing it. She was just following the letter of the template that she was given. And she thought that by not saying something, right, she's doing good. She's moving towards making the sale. And she didn't listen. And that's why she lost everything, right? She didn't only lose you, because she also tainted the next person who's going to come or anything. So
correct. Yeah, and I've got sympathy for door-to-door sales. That I can only imagine how tough of a job that is.
You did that with ballots, right?
Well, yeah, I've done it with door knocking for political stuff, so it's not necessarily sales, but the idea of going to somebody's house unannounced and trying to I complete and just in general working in radio since I've been in North Carolina, it's not door to door sales, but it is in some regards of trying to sell advertising. So I have an incredible amount of understanding of what it's like to be in that game and what that entails. But Jesus Christ, if you can't answer my question, what are you trying to offer me? Then get out. I mean, I just have nothing. I'm not going to come to any conclusion of anything useful with
you.
Yeah. And Gal, I've got news for you. Generator cannot lower your.
I know. I was just joking.
Something. Anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, it is. It's a very tough job, and if a person depends on it for income, that is very, very rough.
Yeah, but guess what?
Hey,
then do better.
Yeah.
Come to my house. I tell you this. I have zero interest in solar for multiple reasons.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest being my house isn't large enough. The roof is the pitch of the roof doesn't make sense to put panels on. That's the biggest reason. The other reason, I think there's a lot of BS and snake oil around. Nevertheless, if this girl had come to my door and said, I know, I'm knocking on your door. You've heard it a million times, but can we genuinely have a conversation? I would have stepped outside and we would have sat in I would have pulled the two chairs out. We would have sat and had a conversation. I would have had no problem doing that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Zero.
Yeah, you can always learn from somebody.
Absolutely, I'm more than willing to be. Yeah. Contrary to what I'm told in my day-to-day job, I'm so hard-headed and stubborn that I can't see anybody else's opinion. I actually am genuinely interested in learning, and don't believe that everything I think I know is the 100% verified fact, and there's no other vantage point or opinion or viewpoint. But you as Gal said, you broke the trust immediately. And now you want me to try and build a relationship with you? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So, not sure how that's related. I don't even know what we were talking about. Oh, Amazon.
Black patterns.
Yeah. Speaking of Amazon and relationships, there you go.
All right.
Exactly. That's the thing. Yeah, go ahead. I think we bit this to
death. Yeah. It's dead. It's dead. It's laying by the side of the road
dead,
now.
Jim.
Mozilla latest Firefox browser release has a new feature that prevents sites like Facebook from tracking you across websites called query parameter stripping. It automatically removes strings of characters added to the end of a URL.
That's not
I like
necessarily
that.
good.
No. I like that.
I don't.
Everybody always complained about going and looking at shoes somewhere, and then you go to another site completely silent. They show you ads about shoes.
That's different.
No. They're talking about passing tracking information through the URL.
Yeah,
Correct.
Right? We have cookies, which is something that is not visible while you're browsing. And the other is,
that's right.
okay, I'm sending you a link from an Amazon site, right? But that link, all you need from that link is the domain name, one sort of path, I think DP, and then a number for the item.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is, to me, the user, fluff, and it's all about Amazon tracking how those links are being used. Right?
That part is longer than the needed part.
Right. Now, so that part contains what I searched for, how many clicks I had until I got to the page from the search. It contains a lot of stuff. Now, I know about it, and usually when I'm when I'm not tired, too tired, and I care, I strip that part and I only send the short URL. That will also, it also contains affiliate links. And I think that is going to piss off a lot of people. So, because affiliate links is what makes money for quite a few websites. And it is important. So I wonder if they are able to filter out only the tracking junk and keep the affiliate links. And if they can do that, then Firefox will be a hero. If they can't, then you'll start seeing a lot of YouTube, a lot of TikToks, a lot of stuff like that say, don't use Firefox. So they'll even block the Firefox user.
You can do away with that.
Screen.
You don't have to go, but you can switch it off. By default, it's going to be there. Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing if it's done properly. But doing it properly is hard because it means managing separate rules for separate sites. Because each site will have its own structure of how to pass that information. So it's interesting. I remember I think last week we talked about it, or maybe the week before, that they have enabled by default cookie compartmentalization. So if you got a cookie from one site, only that domain can query that cookie again. They're tracking the cookies and where they came from instead of allowing just any site to ask for any cookie. And that's great. So cross-site tracking via cookies is already switched off. Now they're attacking the URL base, and that is a good thing. That is a good thing for creating a more trusted web. But to tell you the truth, at this point, Firefox is such a niche player in the marketplace of browsers that I don't know how much of a dent they'll create.
Not much of a dent.
Google. Yeah, I don't see Google or Microsoft following suit and implementing those in their browsers. I'll be very surprised if they did.
I've got some problems with this, and Gal, I don't disagree with any of the points you made. And obviously, you mentioned Amazon and Google and some of the bigger brands, but I do a lot of analytical work with the local GOP. We do a lot of analytical work to try and figure out where we're getting traffic from and things like that. And that hurts us severely.
Oh, no, I know.
I think this hurts obviously it hurts Amazon and Google, but they can make up for it. What it really hurts is I think the smaller individuals that we have significantly less data, obviously, than Amazon. And for us, that data is a lot more beneficial because it's so much of a smaller sample size. So there are definitely pros and cons to it for sure.
So yes, this is about tracking, right? And this is about understanding how the tracking works. I wonder what type of control they give the user around this. And let's say your website, right? The moment it detects it, one of the things it can ask is, hey, can we track this and this, your usage on the site or something like that? It's going to be a bummer because, already I think everybody is fed up by that stupid we use cookies pop up on every website you enter.
Yeah.
Right? Which is, you're on the web, you're using cookies. I know, right? And I don't have a way of blanketly saying in the browser, like this is one thing I would think the browser, right? Some sort of standardization in a browser would be, okay, accept all notifications about cookies. I know the web is tracking me. Or no, I don't want any cookies unless I explicitly switch something on the permissions, like the permissions for using your webcam or microphone, right? Something like that. So the current implementation is just terrible. This is another part of tracking disabled. I like the idea. I just, this coming from Firefox, it's great. I use Firefox. I'll keep using it. I'll try using it, but I'm not like blown away by it.
Okay. All right. We'll be like that. Yeah. All right. Nick, are you ready for your special?
Fine, I guess so.
Uh-oh. What's the matter?
No, I'm ready.
Oh. All right.
All right. So we got a little bit of some July the 4th stuff here, and something to keep mindful of tomorrow is, oh boy, let's watch this fireworks video I took a year ago. Said no one ever, which is exactly what everybody will be doing tomorrow when they're taking their stupid videos of fireworks that, again, they'll never watch and never see again. All right, let's jump into specials on this July the 3rd. Got a couple of laptops here to get the ball rolling this morning. We got an Asus Zen Book, which is kind of their lower to mid-tier laptop line. This is running a 2.8K, so not 4K, not 1080p, but a 2.8K OLED screen, running the new Intel Evo platform, a 12th gen Core i5 processor. Say it again?
I say that's actually impressive for a resolution for a screen like that.
Yeah, very much so. 8 gigabytes of memory, 256 gigabyte SSD. Not a bad price at $750 over at Best Buy. I wish it had more memory. 8 gigs on a computer that MSRPs for $750 is a little bit meh. For $499, no, not a bad computer. The Asus Zen Book is, again, is kind of their middle to upper tier, middle class of laptop line. So you can save $250 on that.
And very important, it's the 12th gen i5. That's basically like an i7 from the previous generation with 2 extra cores. It's like, it's a very, very good CPU. It's i7. You would have paid for a CPU like this, for a computer like this, maybe, let's say pre-pandemic, okay? Because we know that the pandemic was terrible. Pre-pandemic, you would have paid upwards of $800 on a computer like this. So it is a good price.
And you can you can check that out over at Best Buy, where you can find that. All right, moving on to another laptop, same price. This one over at Best Buy as well. This is an HP, and it's running on the AMD platform. This is a 2-in-1, so it rolls completely back. You can use it as a tablet or a laptop, this is a touch screen as well, 15.6 inch, AMD Ryzen 5, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and a 256 gigabyte SSD. This one's normally $800, so you're saving $300 total, but this is also $499 over at Best Buy. Some of these do appear to be in stock. At least both of these are in stock at my Best Buy, but you've only got till July the 5th to get those two. So if you're serious about it, make sure you go ahead and pull the trigger. We talked about these TVs for months, about Amazon's TV, Amazon's TV, Amazon's TV, and the biggest problem with them is that they're not sold in store. You have to buy them on Amazon's website, at least from what I've seen. But I did see that there was a special. Here is the Amazon Fire TV. So it's Amazon branded Fire TV, 50-inch 4 series. This is their 4K ultra high definition smart TV. Obviously, the smart side of it is essentially it has a Amazon Fire TV stick or something built right into it. Normally, this is $469.99. You're saving $210 on it immediately, $259.99. That's for the 50-inch. The 55-inch is also on sale for $350, and the 43-inch is also on sale for $199. So if you click the link in the specials and you're looking for a different size, you can check that out. For a much larger television, and obviously a much, I would say a more, probably a higher class of television, is this LG Nano Cell. This is their 65-inch 4K Ultra HD Smart TV. It runs their ThinQ AI, and it uses their Nano Cell technology, which gives you, I believe it's 99.8% coverage of the RGB color scale. This LG Nano Cell technology is apparently really, really nice. I've watched some videos on it. This TV is normally $700. You can get it for $549 over at Walmart. This is in store as well. If you can find it, you can also order it online and have it shipped to the store. So that's $549 over at Walmart. And finally, another laptop here. Here's a big boy. This is an MSI laptop over at Newegg, running an AMD Ryzen 7, so the highest gen AMD Ryzen, or the highest tier AMD Ryzen for the consumer side outside of Threadripper that they sell. It's running a 5700U, 8 gigabytes of memory, a 512 gigabyte NVMe SSD, and the real game changer on this compared to the prior two laptops is that this has a discrete graphics card. It's running an AMD Radeon graphics card with this, a mobile Radeon card. So you're getting that discrete graphics with it. Running Windows 11, and it's also got 15.6 in. It's also a 15.6 inch screen. Normally $750. It is currently back ordered according to Newegg, but you can get it, you can buy it, and then when it is available to ship, you will get it. So if you're not in immediate need of this computer, but something that is maybe a little bit down the road, you can check that out over at Newegg. All right, moving on over to some kind of interesting products. That's typically what I do with the last page here. There's a company known as Mufaso Power, kind of an interesting name for a company. They've got one of these swivel multiple power source things. They call this their 9-in-1 surge protected swivel outlet. So you plug it into the outlet and it pivots on the outlet side. So you can swing it fully from left to right on the outlet. It's got 6 regular 120 volt outlets, and then it's got a couple of USBs, 2 USB type A's and 1 USB-C, with a total of 3.1 amps of charging on those outlets combined. So presumably you could pull just over 3 amps from just the USB-C for fast charging. And that's normally about $20. You'll see it listed for $14 on Amazon, but if you click the link in the specials, there's a Slick Deals coupon link that brings it down to $11.30. You're saving nearly 50% on it. Maybe a useful thing to throw in your luggage or bag if you travel a decent amount. Get some extra outlets in a hotel or a restaurant or a coffee bar, something like that. You can check that out over at Amazon. This is over at GameStop, which is what it is, I guess. But it's a WD Black, and this is a gaming drive. But the reason I picked this out is this is also this is a rugged travel drive. It's got a metal enclosure that it comes with. It's meant for travel. It's got some shock resistance built into it. So this is a 2 terabyte mobile drive. Obviously, this is not the best 2 terabyte hard drive you can buy, but something that's in an enclosure like this and is meant to be able to be knocked around a little bit. Plus, it comes with a free game. You can get some of the new games, like the new Sherlock Holmes game, a couple of other things as well with this when you buy it from GameStop. It's normally an $80 hard drive. It is 50% off. You get it for $39.98, save $40.01 on
That's
that
not an
overhead.
SSD.
Correct. It is a 2 terabyte
Correct.
spitting drive.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Yes, I should have said that. Spinning drive.
No.
It's let me see how.
I mean, or it's if it's a game,
Yeah,
probably
it's a high
7200.
Yeah, I'm trying to find
high reliability.
Trying to find the speed.
I wouldn't think that it would be 5400. That's it's probably 72.
For some reason.
Well, it's all right. If somebody needs it, they can go in and search for it.
5400.
It is?
Yeah.
Jeez. That's
Yeah,
a green.
The comments on Amazon are saying it's 5400. So,
Okay.
So yeah, 5400 fast drive for that. All right, these next two products manage expectations is all I can say. Here is an HP 11.6 inch Chromebook. This has got an AMD A4 graphics card, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and 32 gigabytes of storage. This thing's normally $225. It's on Amazon with free in-store pickup today. This is in stock at the Walmart Supercenter by me for $98. Again, I will say, manage your expectations with it. But if you're looking for a literal throwaway computer for a grandchild, a child, or literally anything, I don't believe you're going to find a Chromebook with these specs, which this isn't the worst Chromebook by any stretch of the imagination spec-wise, for $98 over at Walmart. So you can check that out over at Walmart. And if we move on to our next product, here is an even cheaper Chromebook. This is the Lenovo Chromebook 3 11.6 inch HD. Now this one is significantly slower than the other. And this is only running a Celeron N4020 with 4 gigabytes of RAM. It does have a bigger drive. This is normally $139, this product, and you can get it for $79. So still a really good deal if you're looking for a really, really, really basic computer. This is cheaper than pretty much any Android tablet that you're going to find that's worth its weight. A pretty hard price to beat at $79, and that's over at Best Buy. This is kind of an oddball item, but saw that it was a special, and Klein Tools makes a lot of really great stuff. This is the Klein Tools digital clamp meter, their voltage meter. It's got the clamp for getting around larger conductors to try and do some troubleshooting. It's also got probes that you can connect up to it. It'll do up to 600 volts, 400 amps. It's got a LCD reversible contrast display, a couple of different probes in that as well. It's normally $90. You'll save 17% over at Amazon. You can find it for $74.99. $197 over on Amazon. And finally, this morning, another Amazon product. Now, this one I will say you do have to be an Amazon Prime member to get access to this. This is a combination Blink, which Amazon owns, the security system, and Echo Show. This is the Blink Outdoor 5-camera bundle with Echo Show 2. This thing is normally $470 for 5 cameras and the Amazon Show. You can get all 5 of these cameras and the Amazon Show for just $199. It's pretty hard to beat this price. They do sell the 3 and 2 camera kits as well. The 3 camera kit runs for $134, and the 2 camera kit runs for $109. All of those come with the Echo Show 5. So if you're looking to maybe get into the Blink ecosystem, you're probably going to be hard pressed to find a better deal than this. Again, you do have to be an Amazon Prime member, and the deal ends in 7 days over at Amazon. You'll save 57% on that. And you can check that out over at old Amazon.
And you can find this file at computerstucanow.com, and on the left you'll see the weekly specials or
and there's links, by the way, to everything is everything is hyperlinked to the special. By the way, it is hyperlinked with all of the tags on it, all of the queries. So be mindful.
Yeah, it is the link on the menu on the left on Computer Studio now says specials/picks.
Yep. So there you go.
Yep.
Again, if you're interested, be mindful on a couple of these things. They run out in the next couple of days because of July 4th. So,
yeah, that's probably for July 4th.
Some of them are, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Talking about the SSDs and stuff. And Nick, you were I was. Did I hear right when you were talking about that external 5400 and you say, yeah, fast drive?
I didn't say fast, but 5400 for, I mean, obviously 72 or 74 is your, fastest. But for a portable drive, 5400 RPM is not bad at all.
Right. So
I think they consider, for a portable drive, I believe they consider 5400 RPM fast.
Yeah, you're not using it to load programs. You use it to save stuff.
Well, in this case, you're using it to load games. So
load.
You are.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So following the launch of Apple's new 13-inch MacBook Pro with the M2 chip, it has been discovered that the $1,299 base model with 256 gigabyte of storage has significantly slower SSD read-write speeds compared to the equivalent previous generation model. I guess Apple bought a bunch of cheap SSDs that were slower, and they stuck them in those machines. In the article there was some numbers where people tested, and it's almost half the speed of the previous one. Not quite half. So it's interesting that Apple would do that. We'll see what happens when people that bought it realize this. We'll see what comments we're going to have next week.
Well, it's just the base model.
Yeah. It's just the base. That's right. All right. So as of last Thursday, Sprint's LTE network has been retired by its new owner, T-Mobile. That's along with Sprint's...
Finally.
Yep. That's along with Sprint's 3G CDMA network, which was shut down earlier this year. And what remained of T-Mobile owned 3G network, which enters retirement. What did you say,
remember
Nick?
when CDMA was the promising new technology?
Yeah. Yep.
Verizon was that as well, right? With 4G, they with LTE, I think they just it went away. But
Oh,
yeah,
all right, Gal, you're a big open source.
I'm big. Yeah,
Open source.
You're big.
Yeah.
So the Software Freedom Conservancy, SFC,
Software Freedom Conservancy. Okay.
a nonprofit focused on free and open source software, FOSS, said it has stopped using Microsoft GitHub for project hosting and is
Yeah.
urging other software developers to do the same. In a blog post on last Thursday, Denver Gingrich, SFC FOSS licensed compliance engineer, and Bradley M. Kuhn, SFC policy fellow, said GitHub has, over the past decade, come to play a dominant role in FOSS development by building an interface and social features around Git, the widely used open source version control software. In so doing, they claim, the company has convinced FOSS developers to contribute to the development of a proprietary service that exploits FOSS. We are ending all of our own use of GitHub and announcing a long-term plan to assist FOSS projects to migrate away from GitHub.
Yeah. So that service they're talking about.
Yeah.
First of all, GitHub is not open source. Okay. GitHub hosts.
Yeah.
Most of the open source project out there, but GitHub is not open source. But they are doing something that is pissing off a bit of the open source community. So it's like it's split. On the one hand, it pisses off the open source community. On the other hand, it is also very exciting. So I don't remember the name, so I'll explain what it does. They are literally the largest code repository in the world right now, including private and public repositories.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives them access to the entire code base. And when you pair artificial intelligence with a lot of data, you get very interesting results. And the service they're talking about, that paid service, is currently in testing. I don't know if it's an alpha stage or beta stage, but together with Microsoft Visual Studio Code Editor, the development environment, there's a plugin that provides AI-driven recommendation for code completion. Now, this is not, up until now, code completion was you're starting to type the variable name, it'll autocomplete variable names based on what you type because it already knows what your program variable looks like. Here, they're talking about you're starting to write a function or some logic within a function. It will try to guess what you are doing based on the code that you've already written and based on all of the patterns that they've encountered in the GitHub repos. And they will provide you basically templates of code, right? Like automatically. Those who have tested it, you remember the feeling we used to have when we would start to type into Google a search term and it will know exactly what we meant. This is what is happening right now is coding. So you start writing a very complex. You're thinking you're going to write something very complex, or it's going to take you some effort to write, and suddenly GitHub's AI is pushing to you and it's showing you on screen, right, the code that you intended to write right now. This is like a ghost writing for you, and it is very, very effective. But it is also pissing off the open source community who have contributed that code and are not allowed access to that AI because that's only a paid service. So it's a very interesting. There's a very interesting dynamics over here, right? Because this company, if it didn't exist, if it didn't push and market itself the way it did at the beginning, and it was never open source, but if it didn't advocate for open source the way it did up until now, right? Open source would probably have taken a different route. I mean, I don't think it would have gone away. I think we would have seen it prevail. But now this turn specifically feels like Google turning evil, feels like Facebook no longer fun, feels like it's something like that. So GitHub is now starting to look like the big bad in open source. And
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah, it is a very I mean, I know it sounds very dry and factoid, especially for those who don't code. The AI that we're talking about, it is staggering. It is exciting technology, but it is also problematic because it's going to make them a lot of money, and it's based on the work of people who never got paid. So the contributors are being ridden on. So yeah.
Well, all right. Oh, he's not here. Since 2015, a California-based company called Mojo Vision has been developing smart contact lenses. Like smart glasses, the idea is to put helpful AR graphics in front of your eye to help accomplish daily tasks. Now, a functioning prototype brings us closer to seeing a final product. In a blog post last week, the CEO of Mojo Vision said he was the first to have an on-eye demonstration of a feature complete augmented reality smart contact lens. In an interview with CNET, he said he's been wearing only one contact at a time for hour-long durations. Eventually, Mojo Vision would like users to be able to wear two Mojo lenses simultaneously and create 3D visual overlays. The publication said, according to his blog, the CEO could see a compass through the contact and an on-screen teleprompter with quotes written on it. He also recalled viewing a green monochromatic image of Albert Einstein to CNET. At the heart of the lens, now we remember, we're talking about a contact lens. At the heart of the lens is an ARM M0 processor and a micro LED display with 14,000 pixels per inch. It's just 0.02 inches, which is 0.5 millimeter in diameter, with a 1.8 micron pixel pitch. Perkins claimed it's the smallest and densest display ever created for dynamic content. Developing the contact overall included a focus on physics and electronics miniaturization. Mojo Lens developed its power management system with medical grade micro batteries and a proprietary power management integrated circuit. The Mojo Lens also uses a custom configured magnetometer and accelerometer and gyroscope for tracking. This is this contact lens.
Science fiction.
Jeez. Now, I don't understand. He says that people would need to wear two of them. I mean, and this is not for games. This is not the VR thing. No, no. It's not a VR unit to play games in and stuff that you put on and you take off. They said, it's for.
Well, you're gonna take it off every day to charge it.
Yeah, that's fine. To take it off, it's one thing, but once a day. But actually, it's something that you're gonna wear.
You won't take it off. You'll put in a charging mask.
Yeah, I think they were talking about the power. I can't remember. There was something else about something that you wear around your neck. I don't know. But anyway.
Oh, yeah, I see it in the photo.
But the thing is, you wear that. I mean, do you have the ability to look through it and see?
Yeah. Augmented reality. Augmented reality isn't new. It is, how heads up.
And by the way, we're going to have. Are you going to be with us next week?
Yeah.
You think? Because
that's the plan anyway.
Katie is going to be here, and she's going to talk about all these augmented and X and all that.
Because she makes VR sites.
Yeah, she's gonna be here next week. Anyway, that's awesome. Go ahead. So augmented
reality, right?
Yeah.
Is overlaying information on the image that you see in the real world, right? You have those phone apps where you can. I mean, even Google Maps. You can set it to augmented reality, and you have you want to see where the library is, right?
Yeah.
You raise it up, and you switch to augmented reality, and move your phone, and it shows you on the phone, right? It shows you the route and the pinpoint as if it's on the view. So, augmented reality isn't new. It's a heads-up display. Think of it as a heads-up display.
Yeah.
Right? And so here they're talking about something for augmented reality to work. One of the things that you need is, first of all, a camera, because it needs to see what it's going to overlay on.
Right.
It needs to be very precise. So this is Google Glass, right? Just the next level of it. This is very interesting. Definitely, this is science fiction. It's exciting, but even if they say in 10 years, in 10 years this will be available. Even when they say that, it sounds to me like in 10 years it might be available for the rich people. It just sounds so high tech, but I might be overanalyzing this. Maybe it's a lot simpler than we think it is, and the fact that they can create a prototype today.
Remember, the article started by saying since 2015, this is when they started developing.
Of course.
So
of course, it's not something that they just started. If they have a prototype, they work. It's exciting stuff. Yeah, I'm guessing what will happen right now is we'll get a lot of YouTube content, TikTok content, of influencers being invited to test and take a look at this, and it'll be interesting where it will go. This is.
We'll wait and see, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Hollywood was promising this for years, so it must be true, right?
All right. So talking about little things, everyone's favorite versatile microcontroller maker, Raspberry Pi, just unveiled a handful of new budget-minded products. The company is building on the success of its $4 Pico board, which has thus far moved just under 2 million units since its January 2021 launch. The new Pico W is launching last week, For $6, the W brings 802.11 Wi-Fi connectivity to the system.
Amazing.
The $5 Pico H adds a pre-populated header for interfacing with other systems. The Pico WH, which is going to be $7, gets you both. The first two are available right now, while WH is shipping at some point in August. As the company notes, its boards have found a lot of success beyond their initial hobbyist and educational focus, as companies have begun to integrate the controllers directly into their product. So now you have Wi-Fi on it.
It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
$6.
they are probably. I mean, I know this started as a very small company, but there are a lot of copycats. There's a lot of other companies doing small board computers, very successful,
Right.
all around the world. I mean, there's some Chinese brands that are very exciting, but they have the revolution that they brought is just staggering. It's amazing. The
Yeah.
technology that they have packed in these small packages is so exciting, so interesting.
And Nick, remember years ago when we started doing all these streaming of video and people were watching and so on, we said, I mean, you have to listen, you have to be in the car, you have to listen. And I remember Mike said, yep, it's not going to happen until there is reliable internet they're going to go in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the FCC authorized SpaceX to provide Starlink satellite internet to vehicles in motion. A key step
That's
for
big.
Elon Musk's, what?
So that's big.
Yeah. A key step in Elon Musk's company to further expand the service, authorizing a new class of customer terminals for SpaceX satellite system will expand the range of broadband capabilities to meet the growing user demands that now requires connectivity while on the move. Whether driving an RV across the country, moving a freighter from Europe to the US, or while on a domestic or international flight. FCC International Bureau Chief Tom Sullivan wrote in the authorization posted Thursday. I mean, that's what he was saying. The FCC's authorization also include connecting to ships and vehicles like semi-trucks and RVs, with SpaceX having last year requested to expand from servicing stationary customers. So they are authorized that too. SpaceX has already deployed a version of its service called Starlink for RVs with an additional portability fee. But portability is not the same as mobility, which the FCC's decision now allows. The FCC imposed condition on in-motion Starlink service. SpaceX is required to accept any interference received from both current and future services authorized, and further investment in Starlink will assume the risk that operations may be subject to additional conditions or requirements. This is from the FCC. So that's interesting.
Well, so there's a couple of things there. That sounds like what the FCC authorization is mostly dealing with, and I'm not saying it won't change, but is dealing with more commercial use cases. You said travel, boats, and RVs. It still doesn't solve the problem though that you deal with in a consumer vehicle. And I mean, you don't need to go too far to find an example. I'm down here in Wilmington. If I drive up to Amnon-Gal up in Raleigh, there is a section of I-40. pull up a map to look at it. There is a section of Interstate 40, which is a federal interstate that runs from Wilmington to, I think it's San Jose, California. It runs across the entire United States. There is a section of I-40 not far from Clinton, which I believe is, I'm trying to remember what county that's, maybe Sampson County or Duplin County, that there's just no cell service on I-40. And if you're streaming something live, now if you're streaming a podcast, it buffers, you're fine. If you're streaming a live audio stream, like a radio station or a show like this or a YouTube video where there's no buffering, you will drop your connection. Now, is it the end of the world? No. Does it ruin your travel? No. But there are still areas like that. And we're talking about a very heavily traveled road in I-40 between Wilmington and Raleigh. Extrapolate that out to the rest of the United States.
Yeah.
It's still not feasible to have full-fledged bandwidth from point A to point B.
But satellite could solve that.
It could solve that, but also apparently the 5G network is supposed to solve that as well, with these radios having better penetration and longer distance. So the question is, what is going to be first? Is the full nationwide rollout of 5G going to solve this problem? Or is something like Starlink? But the problem you've got with Starlink is now you're going to be paying a separate bill just for your car's internet.
Yeah.
I mean, do you really want to spend another $60 a month for internet on your car when you're driving?
Well,
Right.
The way I envision it is, if you're Starlink, you're probably Starlink all the way, stationary and mobile. So it'll just cover you, right? So you already have Starlink for your stationary, and you just add, right, a subscription, or add to the subscription the equipment for the mobile stuff. But
That's a good point.
But to be realistic, on a car, mobile, remember, even the mobile kit for a Starlink, it is bulky. You don't want to put it on a car.
No, your little two-door sedan is not gonna.
Yeah. So it's
No, you don't.
it's
You don't
not
put
that
it.
yet.
You don't put it on the car. You hook a trailer.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
I think the real solution is going to be 5G. I mean, that's the more feasible long term. Well, not long term. That's the more
Why not?
feasible, closer solution.
Why not 4G? Like, why 5G?
Well, let me.
5G's got better. 5G's got better. It's a longer wavelength, so it's got better penetration. Excuse me. It's a smaller wavelength, so it's got better penetration and longer. It can travel a longer distance at the same amount of power because it's a smaller wavelength.
I'm not sure about 5.
Let me make
go ahead.
let me make a comment about this, because Hannah was just here, and last weekend she had a gig to work over at DPAC in Durham, in the basement with shows and stuff like that. And the first thing she told me, she said, "That now I know why I never switched from Verizon. Why I didn't want to switch from Verizon." She's saying that down in the basement at the DPAC, T-Mobile had no, and that's 5G, had no signal, while people with Verizon did. Now, of course, that may mean that there's no tower close by or whatever also. But the fact is that being down there, she did not have any. They were trying
I don't
to.
think it's about a tower. And I don't think Verizon has better coverage there. I do think.
Oh,
Verizon
wait. They do.
Hold on. I do think Verizon have a repeater built in that building.
Okay, that may be it.
You're talking about the basement. It has nothing to do with Verizon, T-Mobile, or any technology. It's like you're talking wireless. It doesn't come from the outside if you get in the basement.
Well, the thing is, they were trying to text her. There are texts that were going to all the people there, and she never got them. And somebody asked her, "Didn't you get it?" Said, "No, what text?" And he said, "Here, all these texts." He had a Verizon. And when she asked around, all the people with Verizon got those texts, but her iPhone 13 T-Mobile did not.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
in my office, everybody with T-Mobile had perfect reception, and everybody with Verizon didn't get anything. It doesn't
Interesting. Okay.
matter.
All right.
Yeah, it's an area.
Yeah.
It's that specific area versus another specific area. It's coverage.
Yeah.
By the way, as far as towers go, right? As far as I recall, they're all using the same towers.
Same towers.
Right? So it's like we're no longer in the 90s, late 90s, where everybody had their own complete separate equipment. They're using, right? There's consolidation of, that's why we need regulation for stuff like that, right? So you get
There's some
better
consolidation,
coverage.
but 18, I mean, I know for a fact that there are still separate towers for different providers.
I don't know. I mean,
I know for a fact. I mean, I look at some of the radio transmitter sites that I visited, and there are AT&T radios on that. It is AT&T equipment. It is not anybody else's equipment. Now, who rides on AT&T? Is it T-Mobile? Whoever rides on
T-Mobile
AT&T
is their own.
Okay, so yeah, so whoever rides on AT&T gets it. So yeah, Straight Talk or one of these other carriers, you'll have that coverage. But Verizon and T-Mobile are not riding on that tower. That's a completely separate build out. But I know for a fact with the wavelength of 5G that long term it should have better penetration and better coverage with a similar amount of power at a similar height.
But that's the thing. The moment you rise in the bandwidth, right? In which frequencies you use, you might get better penetration, but you're getting shorter ranges. So as I know that 5G will require a much dense spread out of infrastructure compared to 4G, which was a much more denser infrastructure compared to the 3G. So yes, we're getting higher throughput. We're getting better penetration at short ranges of short distances, not ranges, right? Short distances, because the frequency range is going higher. So I don't see how 5G is going to solve it, because deploying 5G infrastructure is going to be substantially more expensive because you need a more denser grid.
I think in some aspects you might need a denser grid, but in some aspects you don't, because the 5G has so much more bandwidth available. From what I understand, and I very well could be wrong, when you are on the fringes of a 5G network, you have significantly higher throughput than you do on the fringes of a 4G network, just based on the fact that 5G is higher bandwidth and higher spec than 4G. So when you have 1 bar on 4G and you can't load a website, when you have 1 bar of 5G, you might very well be able to pass that data through.
You are correct. You're correct. But the radius you're talking about, right, is so much smaller in 5G compared to 4G.
So you need more towers.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Well, you either need more towers or you need more height. And I believe because the 5G radios are so much smaller, I think what is happening from what I've seen in some 5G build outs locally, because the towers are the radios. And when I'm talking about the radios, I'm talking about the little triangular thing that you see built on top of a tower that's got all of the antennas on it. From what I understand, because it's so much lighter, they are able to, in some areas, not everywhere, but in some areas, they're able to get those antennas significantly higher. And at the end of the day, this is line of sight is what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
This is line of sight when you're talking about cell service. So height is no different than FM radio. Height is what you need. You need height. That's how you get
what satellite will give you.
You can double your power or raise your height. And it is a lot easier to raise your height than it is to double your power. So
maybe.
What do you mean maybe?
I don't know. It seems like it would be a lot more work to add to a tower than it is to just Hey,
if you're broadcasting at 100,000 watts, to double your power to 200,000 watts is incredibly hard. First of all, you won't get a license for it.
no, I
But-
understand. I understand.
But yeah, so that's your.
But it's just hardware down there.
You can't put out a million watts through a cell phone antenna and just cover blanket whole air. There's very strict regulations on power output.
I never looked at that, but yesterday morning decided I'm going to take Gaia and take a walk around the office complex next to us, and you walk right next to the cell tower. That is a monster. What it
Yep.
had all the equipment on it and down. I mean, it has buildings down at the bottom.
Yep.
So it's very, very interesting. Yeah. Anyway,
Well, like for example, the AT&T installs that I've seen, they're actually built outdoors. They're not a building. They're built on a platform, and they've got all of the cabinets that are weatherproofed and outdoor. I don't know how they do it.
well, that's what these are. Yeah, but they're like buildings. They're not like little cabinet. Like a 19-inch rack that's closed. It's
these are just larger 19-inch racks that have coverage on.
Yeah,
It's
it's impressive. Nick, real quick from you, I saw a post
no.
that you're expecting bad weather.
No, it was yesterday.
Yeah, but you talked about Sunday.
When?
You said Sunday is going to be. Yes, the post from yesterday said something about Sunday.
No, we're good.
So you're good. I mean, we're going to get some. I hope we're going to get some rain.
Oh, we got a whole bunch of rain here yesterday. So let me show this picture.
We didn't.
Hold on a second here.
Every chance of rain that we had,
I
it
got
just fizzled.
just over 1.5 inches here yesterday, which is great because
Wow.
we're in a severe drought down here. All right, let me show you this. So this is the this is one of the sites that I'm familiar with that is AT&T install on a tower, and you can see that these are racks. I mean, these are outdoor racks. Now, obviously, you can see here like that's an air conditioning.
Yeah.
Right. There's no question about it. These things have to be cooled. But it's not a building. You can see there's just a metal railing. It's just up on a platform.
Yeah, I should say they have metal buildings, but it looks like like buildings of 15 by 15.
Yeah, I mean this is all that this AT&T installation has here. I don't know what the inside of this looks like. Obviously, there's some sort of airflow to control things.
Yeah.
But that's an example of what whatever a TE45 is with AT&T. You can even see the hooks on here. These things are just brought in by crane and dumped on a platform. So I mean that's a cell site. That is the definition of a cell site. It's a little metal platform with some equipment on the ground and then the radios in the air.
Yeah, it looks like a little power relay place when you see him with all the wire. It was impressive. I never thought all that was down there. Anyway, all right. Those of you using Thunderbird. Thunderbird is the email program they used to come with Firefox.
Still comes with a lot of Linux distros.
So Thunderbird 102 has been released with some new UI improvements and new features. There has been a change in the icons. The layout of the address book has been upgraded to feature a more modern UI and a new UI feature known as the Spaces toolbar to get around Thunderbird. New features include an updated import and export wizard, a UI for editing the email header settings, and Matrix client support with Thunderbird. Within Thunderbird, which is a messaging system using HTTPS that is similar to Discord, if you've used that. So Thunderbird is, I know a lot of our customers are using Thunderbird. They like it.
Thunderbird is no longer being developed by Mozilla.
No.
Yeah, just
Yeah, it was
has been
taken.
Mozilla dropped it,
Right.
and the community picked it up.
Yep.
And it has, since Mozilla dropped it, it has evolved, and so it's a very very good mail client. Not just for free, it's like very good compared to others. And it already has stuff that was previously missing, stuff like calendar syncing and stuff like that. That was some of the shortcomings of the old era of it. So if you're not using webmail exclusively and you're using a local client, it's definitely worth to check out.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, we're talking about Linux. This week, which is last week, BMW confirmed that some of its future models would run on a next-gen version of its in-house operating system built on top of Android Automotive. This is coming from Android Pollock. It's a big change from previous Linux-based versions, though the company says some of its cars will stay on the legacy build. So far, the automaker has yet to confirm which of its models will get automotive support. They're changing. They're going for Android, but they're building it on top. Outside of some built-in Google Apps, Assistant, Maps, the Play Store, don't expect to notice these BMW cars running Android immediately. Instead, the company will almost certainly, rely on a skin to make the experience feel more in line with previous vehicles, as well as that Linux-based OS the company plans to keep developing. So not all the cars are going to have this. But Android made its way into BMW, which is not bad at all. Goody for them. Yesterday, this is amazing. I'm going through the papers. Yesterday when I did it, I ran out of paper on the printer this week, and I had a pack of paper right under the empty one, so I opened it and took it out.
What year was that from? 1996?
It was from a long time ago. And when I printed what I needed to, and I held it, I said, geez, that's thick paper. And I looked at it, and that was for inkjet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can't be using that little flimsy crap on inkjet. It'll melt your...
This paper here, I keep thinking there's two of them,
Well, yeah, you print with thin paper on your inkjet, the whole thing turns into a wet napkin.
Yeah.
So you definitely can't have that. I kind of an odd thing. Speaking of paper, I'm sure most people don't have a t-shirt press. Because most normal people don't. The things you see like at the boardwalk, Myrtle Beach, with the little t-shirt press. But if you do have a t-shirt press, there's a lot of really cool things you can do with that, including lamination. So you can buy some cheap laminating pouches like you would run through a thermal printer and laminate stuff with your heat press. So there you go.
Oh.
Tip of the week.
Okay.
But you started talking about paper, so I did that yesterday, and I was pleasantly surprised with the result.
And I told Gal this week. I went to my doctor called and wanted me to go and get some equipment that they had over there that they didn't need anymore. So I got an old IBM Selectric typewriter.
Mm-hmm.
Almost broke my back putting it in the truck. There was an i3 desktop that needs to be reformatted. But if anybody,
I can tell you one thing about those typewriters. they make the most exquisite sounds.
And
when you
I
type
tried
them.
it.
They are
I
so
tried
fun.
it. Yep. I plugged it in. I said, let's see if it works. I plugged it with a piece of paper in there and clicked it. Yeah, sure enough.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
feel so high tech typing on them. It's
I
like
still don't
every click
understand.
makes
I
so many
still don't
sounds.
understand those heads. This is fascinating. The way
Is it the rotary head?
Yeah,
It's like
it's like a ball. It's a ball.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's amazing how it picks up the right letter, and fast. I mean, I just went on the keyboard, and it typed everything. I'm saying,
Yeah, put it on Facebook Marketplace.
I'd like to give it to somebody that could do something with it. A
Facebook
collector.
Marketplace. Somebody will buy it and actually want to use it.
We figured.
Yeah, so if there are any budding writers who really want to write on a typewriter,
and if you're strong,
reach out.
And
reach
if you're
out to
strong,
Amnon.
if you're strong,
Can you use it as a
Bring strong
laptop?
person with you. No,
can you use it in a laptop? Yeah, you got a hernia,
Well,
but
why don't you bring? You know what you should do? You should bring it over to the Raleigh News and Observer and see if they can write some actual news on it, because they're hard pressed these days to write anything accurate.
are
So
you
bring it over
kidding?
there.
Not to run anything accurate. We subscribe to the paper because I like the comics and Kathy likes the ads. We did not get a paper now this is the 5th week, and I called them last week and said, "Oh, we
Oh, I'm sure
guarantee
they
you
care.
get it next week." I went out this morning, no paper.
Yeah,
I
they're
asked
too busy
the guy.
writing. They're too busy writing articles about the damn Republicans in the General Assembly to deliver your paper.
It's amazing.
Too busy.
I asked him, I said, "Are you guys still in business?" He said, "Yeah."
One could only hope.
Uh,
Oh yeah, good old N&O.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's this time of day. Anything anybody else want to add? Other than have a happy Independence Day? I was just notified that there's no BNI show tomorrow, so since it's the first Monday, I have a free day.
What are you going to do with your free time?
I don't know. I'll probably take the deuce and go downtown.
Oh, I thought you were going to say sit home. 'Cause you can't take a vacation.
No,
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of 4th of July thing going on downtown.
nothing. They're just, I mean, it's little things that are going on, but the Capitol is busy with all kind of activities. So I'll
Well,
probably
the General Assembly is officially gavelled out, so they won't be back till the I guess it'll be the first of the year, sometime after January. So,
What a job.
well, you know what they make, right?
Well,
Do you?
no,
They make $13,560 a year.
that much.
That much. If you live in Asheville
yeah.
or Winston-Salem or Wilmington, and you have to travel up to Raleigh
Yeah.
for 4 days a week for 5 months out of the year,
Yeah.
$13,560 doesn't cover your gas in hotels or
But
hotel
it's no,
rooms, so.
it's a part-time job. It's not a full-time.
It's a part-time job.
yeah.
They just had their longest long session in history.
Oh.
But yeah, believe me, I'm not. Yeah, I'm just. It's
interesting.
they're out. So, thank God.
Yeah, John says news and disturber. Yeah,
Yeah, amen to that.
yeah, exactly. All right. So thanks, Nick. Thanks, Gal. Gal, have a safe trip up there and come back safe. So you said we will see you next week.
yeah, I'll connect from there.
All right. Nick, I was telling Gal you were doing something.
I heard you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Is she? Should I assume she's coming in studio?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So
I'll make sure to wear my VR headset the whole show.
yeah, and I just sent her an article that Unity, which is the operating system,
The engine.
the engine, they laid off about a quarter of their employees, like 200 and some employees. And she said, "Yeah, I saw that." Anyway,
Yeah, but that I mean, that's not related to VR directly. But
right?
it's just
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the fact that somebody that strong in the gaming industry is laying off is not a good sign, because this is one of the biggest growing industries up until now, right? So
Yeah, she was telling me about the HoloLens, and she said it'll never go anywhere because and nobody's going to develop anything like this because it's too expensive. It's the best, but it's too expensive now. The Oculus is so cheap. Everybody's going to go for that.
yes.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong, I have no love for Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
but the Oculus was an exciting project way before Facebook ever laid their hands on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they have managed. They are they are terrible at insight of most things, right? When it comes to improving human experience, but on this one, they were right on the money. And yeah, it's pretty.
All right, we'll
It's
talk.
such a yeah. Well, we'll talk
We'll
about it.
talk about it
It's
next
such
week,
a
yeah.
fun thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, am I selling my soul to the devil by using it more? Probably, but it's a very enticing. Remember that that article about TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Trust me, Facebook is probably getting Meta is probably getting so much more data about our
Out of
VR
that.
use
Yeah.
through that. So yeah,
All right. So again, have a happy Independence Day, everybody. Gal, again, have a safe trip. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Dana, Dina, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And remember, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM. And you can always tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave anywhere. Or you can go for the recordings at nickcraig.com. Tuesdays, 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection Podcast on Twitch. This is for survival games and game news. So Tuesday evening at 7, twitch.tv/Infection Podcast, one word. See you everybody next week. Bye-bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.